There are tons of Roman coins out there, but by far the most common and most affordable of them are what us collectors call late Roman bronze coins. And there are a lot of them around. Some are tiny, weighing less than a gram, some are 10-gram monsters. Where does all of that variety comes from? How can I get started on collecting these, and how the hell can I make sense of so many different types? That's what we're looking at today. Late Roman bronze coins. Let's go! As always, before we start looking at individual coins, having a historical context is really useful for us to understand our pieces. The term Late Roman Empire is a very long period, from 293 AD, when Emperor Diocletian instituted the Tetrarchy, all the way to 476 AD, when the last Western Roman Emperor, Romulus Augustus, was deposed. That's 183 years, enough time to strike an awful lot of coins. The late empire was very different to the earlier empire. The economy was much more tightly controlled, citizens enjoyed less freedoms, and overall the empire was poorer, very heavily taxed, but most importantly for us coin collectors, it was a time of inflation. Multiple economic reforms were enacted, resulting on the striking of an unprecedented number of coins. Diocletian discarded the old imperial monetary standard, originally instituted by Augustus and by that time destroyed by the economic crisis of the 3rd century. In its place, he created brand new bronze, silver, and gold coins, and a unit of account, a unit of value based on the original silver denarius, by then obliterated by inflation, called the denarius communis. Each of his new coins would be worth multiples of these units of account. This allowed the economy to once again properly give prices to things, but also allowed the imperial administration to manipulate the value of each individual coin by decrees, creating virtually money out of thin air. And the workhorse of this new system was the numus, also called flavius, a new, big bronze coin with an approximate 5% silver content. This coin was supposed to be the money used for most transactions. The coin struck in the highest number, and of course, it was the coin subject to the biggest number of devaluations, reforms, etc. New multiples and fractions were created and removed. Its silver content went up and down, most of the times down, and by the time of the fall of the empire, it was just a tiny scrap of bronze. For this video, I'm going to try to make it a little bit simpler. If I went on each reform and debasement, I'll spend days here. Late Roman bronzes can be dated in 3 broad periods. The Tetrarchies, with coins dated from 295 to 306, the Constantinian period, which, as the name implies, encompasses Constantine's reign from 306 until the death of its last relative, Julian, in 363, and the Late Empire, from 363 until the last emperor in 476. Coins are also categorized based on their diameter. As I mentioned previously, this was a time of many different monetary reforms, and we actually don't know exactly the name of some of the denominations. So to make things manageable for collectors, a convention divides coins in 4 different categories: AE 1, 2, 3, and 4. AE comes from aureus, the Latin term for bronze, so bronze types 1, 2, 3, and 4. AE 1s are all coins above 25 millimeters in diameter. AE 2s between 25 and 21, AE 3s between 21 and 17. Anything smaller than 17 millimeters is considered an AE 4. This system of attributing your coins within these 4 groups helps you manage your collection easily, although it may generate small confusions. These 2 coins I'm putting on the screen right now, one from Diocletian and one from Julian, both are considered AE1s, but they were struck some 60 years apart, they have different weights, and were different denominations entirely. I'll make videos about these fascinating characters one day, but as I said, use this system to help you organize your coins. It is a tool for numismatists, not really a tool for historians, as it doesn't really categorize and distinguishes each denomination apart. So how about we start looking at some coins? Let's have a look at an AE1 first, and for that we're going to between the years 305 and 311. This is the original, the OG late Roman bronze from Diocletian's reform. This particular piece was struck in the name of Galerius, one of the tetrarchs, at the city of Ticinum, modern-day Pavia. Notice the silvering layer over the coin to indicate it had precious metal content. On the obverse we have a schematic bust of the emperor. No late Roman coin shows realistic portraits, and the legends are short and easy. Maximianus, his given name, nobilicimus Caesar, the most noble Caesar. Heading to the reverse, wow, this reverse is in such a good shape, I love it. We have this really cool motif of moneta, the incarnation of the concept of coinage itself. She carries a set of scales and a cornucopia, the horn of abundance. Under her, we have the mint mark, the letters ST, an abbreviation for Secunda Ticinum, or Second Workshop of Ticinum. The legends are a bit of a mouthful. Sacra moneta Augustorum et Caesarum Nostrorum, or the blessed coinage brought by our emperors and Caesars. This coin must have been hoarded as soon as it left the mint because it has no wear whatsoever. Now let's take a look at an AE2. With the dismantling of the Tetrarchy and the division of the empire between Constantine and Licinius, we see the first instances of debasement of the original follis. This piece is attributed to Licinius in 312 AD. It was struck at the mint of Siscia, and the once mighty 10-gram follis now is only around half its weight. It likely also had a lower silver content. Stylistically, this is still very much a Tetrarchy coin. We have once again the laureate bust of the emperor looking right, with the imperial title on the legends, Imperator Licinianus Licinius Pius Felix Augustus. I love the reverse of this coin because of how bad it is. This must be the worst rendition of Jupiter I have ever seen on any Roman coin. Can't blame the engravers though, these coins were minted by the millions to pay for Licinius' troops, so not a lot of attention went into making the dice. But I love his goofy little face looking at his thunderbolt like, what am I supposed to do with this? Under Jupiter, we have the letters SIS, Cis, for the mint of Siscia. On the fields, we have a laurel wreath and a letter gamma, likely control marks for the mint. And finally, the legends, Jovi Conservatori, Jupiter the Protector, symbolizing the imperial institution was under Jupiter's direct protection. Alright, let's go to AE3s. AE3s are the most common of late Roman bronzes, so I brought two examples from different emperors first to look at, since they vary so much stylistically. First, let's take a look at Constantius II, son of Constantine the Great. Constantius reformed Roman coinage more than once during his reign, creating 3 new bronze coins for the smaller everyday transactions. This is one of such coins, the intermediate size one. It had a testimonial silver content of around 1.5% and 4.5 grams in weight. This example can be dated between the years 348 and 350 AD, from the mint of Antioch. On the obverse, notice the change in iconography compared to the previous coin from the Tetrarchies. The emperor now wears a diadem, the symbol of royalty, and if any doubt of who's in charge was left, he's seen holding a globe used to symbolize the entire world. By the Constantinian period, any veneer of republicanism was long gone. The empire had turned into an autocracy, with the emperors holding a position almost like a living god. Certain titles in the coin legends reinforce that as well. We can now read Dominus Noster, our Lord. So we read Dominus Noster Constantius Pius Felix, which means dutiful and blessed. And finally, Augustus, Emperor. Looking at the reverse, we find a very militaristic scene. All coins of Constantius' reform have some sort of militaristic motif on them. In this case, we have the emperor celebrating his victories at the eastern frontier over the Sasanians, as we see two captives in typical eastern clothing sitting next to the emperor, ready to be sold as slaves. The emperor is in full military armor. It's a very complex design for such a small flan. He's holding a military standard with the Chi-Rho, the main symbol of early Christianity, and the legends Felix Temporum Reparatio. These legends repeat on all of Constantius' bronze coins, meaning the return of happy times. Under the design, we have the letters A and B, so Antioch B, showing this coin was struck at the second officina, the second workshop of Antioch. Okay, how about another A3? This is a later piece from Emperor Valentinian I, struck between 364 and 367 at the mint of Siscia. It's similar in size to the previous coin, yes, but as I explained earlier, this doesn't mean much to late Roman coins, because this coin is from a different denomination altogether. We actually know the name of this denomination. This is a centenionalis, the name meaning it was likely worth 100 theoretical denarii, as inflation was really picking up by his reign. On the obverse, we have a similar iconography to Constantius' coins. We have the bust of the emperor wearing the jewel diadem, some very elaborate ropes with a circular fibula, a kind of brooch, showing, and the legends follow the traditional formula for the period: Dominus Noster, Valentinianus Pius Felix Augustus. Heading to the reverse, we have once more an unfortunate barbarian captive being mistreated by the emperor. Valentinian had one of the most unusual deaths of all Roman emperors. After beating an enemy army and receiving its envoys and listening to their terms for surrender, he was so enraged by the conditions, he had a stroke and died on the spot. Getting back to our coin here, we once again have the emperor in full military gear, his depicting holding the military standard with the Chi-Rho, once again making a point Christianity was now the official religion of the empire, and the legends Gloria Romanorum are more like a typical propagandistic slogan, like the glory of the Roman people. And finally, let's look at this minuscule little fellow here. This is an AE4, the pocket change of the late empire. This was a piece struck under Constantine's youngest son, between 342 and 348 at the city of Trier in modern-day Germany, weighing just 1.5 grams, being a mere 15 millimeters wide and having no silver at all. Although this was the smallest denomination at the time, it is a stark reminder of how bad inflation and debasement got during this time period. As we can see, they couldn't even consistently get a regularly round shape of the flan due to its quick manufacture. And if you think this is bad, as we get to the very late empire during the 5th century, coins got even smaller and even cruder. Looking at the obverse, we have this very simple bust of Constans, indistinguishable from the coinage of his brothers. He also wears the royal diadem, but this time the legends had to be simplified due to the lack of space. Constans Pius Felix Augustus. Short and simple. If you're looking for a cheap entry into ancient coins, these types of AE4s can be found very affordably. Looking at the reverse, we have two victories, symbolizing the unity between Constantine the Great's sons. Although if you know anything about Roman history in this period, you will know that they were everything but united, engaging in conflict as soon as their father died. Nevertheless, here we have two simple victories, holding olive wreaths, and the legends read, Victoriae Dominorum Augustorum que Nostrorum, which would translate to the victories of our lords, the emperors. In case you already have some late Roman bronzes and would like a quick and easy guide on how to identify them, I have published a previous video where I showed this great website entirely dedicated to late Roman coinage. It is very easy to use and a great tool for beginners. I'll leave a link in the video description below so you can take a look. Well, now I want to hear from you. Have you got a late Roman bronze coin? Have you got a favorite one? These coins are so diverse, so affordable, and they feature so many different characters. It's a really fascinating little niche. I hope you all enjoyed this little quick presentation. Leave a like, a comment, and consider subscribing if you did. Happy collecting, and I'll see you soon.